You know, you're absolutely right. I remember at one time when Japan was shipping a whole lot of video recorders, VCRs, to France, French manufacturers went to the government and said, you got to help. So what did they do? They said, okay, all VCRs will be imported, as many numbers as you want. You send it to this particular airport, and we'll have customs agents check it out. And, you know, you're going to come out real quick. Sure enough, all the VCRs started coming at the Charles de Gaulle airport, and there was only one custom agent to check each and every machine. And that's how they control the VCR market for France. That's what we should do here in the United States.
Well, I think we should do something. I don't know if that exactly will help, but we need to do something. Well, here's a country we don't get to talk about very often on this show, but I love this story. A few years ago, I believe I'd done a story about the destruction of the big, giant Buddha statues in Afghanistan. They're in a district called Bamia Valley in central Afghanistan, and because of all the skirmishes and whatnot, the Taliban blew up the statues, right? They destroyed them. And it was a big shame because we lost, historically, something of value. These were some of the oldest Buddha statues and certainly the largest in the world,
yes,
carved into the mountainside. Well, there's good news now. After all of these years, there are some organizations there that are trying to bring those statues back. And what they're doing is, out of the rubble, they're piecing together the statue and trying to reconstruct it back into the mountainside the way it was.
Wow.
And
that's hard work.
It's a tremendous undertaking, and you can imagine it's very difficult in those circumstances to do it. But teams from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization are banding together with the International Council on Monuments and Sites, and they're engaged in this very painstaking process to put these statues back together. And they're doing it with help from the local people there, which you can imagine. The local people have been quite frightened at this idea of the Taliban coming back in and taking revenge.
Yeah.
But so far, that area has been well protected, and these statues are being reconstructed. And it's such a great story to read about the good that's coming out of the reconstruction efforts there.
You know, the most toughest time in a family is when you have the second child. That's when there's no time to do anything. But in today's world, you can outsource parts of your life. For instance, if you're both working, you know, it's very hard to actually go grocery shopping.
Of course.
You don't have to do that no more. In big cities, generally, almost all big grocery stores will deliver groceries to your house if you order it the night before. And now everybody's heard Amazon bought diapers.com. So now you can almost order diapers from anywhere, and it comes right to your house. And so can you get the Vaseline and the Johnson powder and the shampoo and all of that. And plus, you can also have cleaning done by the outsource. These are some of the contentious issues when it comes to within the family, you know.
We talked about this last week, splitting up the chores.
There are so many chores to do. And I remember in my particular instance, you know, of course, living single, you used to clean your own apartment, including cleaning your bathroom, and then you get married, and then you have a child, and then you have a business, and then how can you clean the bathrooms? And I say, I don't do the bathrooms, and the wife says, I don't do it either. So then you have to go ahead and outsource it. So this is the beautiful part of life here in the United States, and I'm sure it's available in other countries as well. You can relax, take it easy between the spouses, outsource parts of your life and feel good about it.
You know, the thing about this story is I look at India and the way it used to be, and in some ways India had a lot of things right. You know, there were telewallahs in India. They bring you all your groceries, right? They're moving carts. They go through all the narrow streets. Why? Because the housewives can't leave the house.
Yeah.
So the groceries come to them. You remember milkmen back in the 40s and 50s, that the image we all have of the milkman coming to your door and dropping off. What was that? That was another form of outsourcing to deliver the goods right to the house so the woman didn't have to leave the house. You know, in some ways, by having our independent mobility, we've only made our lives more complicated because now we have to do everything for ourselves as opposed to getting these services and employing these services. So this is actually good because it provides employment to other people. And it frees you up to do the kinds of things in your life you want to do. I think this is a growing trend, and in some ways we're just going back to the way life used to be.
They say, what they say, the more things change, the more things remain the same.
Folks, I had to share this story with you because the headline was just so interesting. Bollywood versus Jihad. Which is the bigger threat to fundamentalist Islam, the Pentagon or Mumbai? So what this is actually about is the fact that there are 2 item numbers in India this year that have really done phenomenally well. And those of us that are big fans of Bollywood movies know these 2 songs very well. Munni Badnaam Hui, which is from the blockbuster Dabang, and Sheila Ki Jawani from Tismar Khan. Both of these movies have done tremendously well. Guess where they've done really well? In the Middle East.
Tell me.
In the Middle East, as well as in other parts of the world, they've done very well. But as a result of these very sizzling item numbers, the philosophies have changed. You know, people like what they see sometimes in entertainment, and that causes a cultural shift to occur. So in some ways, the author of this article, Shikha Dalmia, is saying, you know, we can try to combat some of these fundamentalist ideas, but in fact, Bollywood does some of that for us, just by virtue of creating these very fun and well-embraced item numbers.
Well, folks, that's about all we have for you this weekend, and hopefully you enjoy yours. Namaste.
Namaste.